Hello and welcome to Learning is by Doing Cloud for Machine Learning, an initiative of Tachyon Knowledge. My name is Sharda Prasad. In this video, we will learn identity and access management in AWS. The objective of this module is creating IAM users, groups, role, federated identity management in AWS IAM service, Amazon Cognito, Amazon Organization, Amazon Cloud Services, accessing Amazon Cloud Services through Console, CLI, and SDK, and at the end, AWS Control Tower and related solutions in that particular domain. As this is a learning is by doing course, so this would be our workflow here for this learning is by doing 1.3.x. So let me walk you through my console. In previous video, we've seen that how to walk through AWS console and what all things are there. And in the previous video, we have created some workload for simple kind of machine learning workload on AWS. So today we would be diving deep into identity and access management. Today we will be using again the root credentials to log into AWS console, and we would be creating IAM users. So still let us log into this account which we have created last time as in root user. So we have we are in AWS console as in root user. AWS security best practices says that we should not use root users for daily routine jobs. There are some instances where you would require a root user. However, for the rest of the routine jobs, you should have IAM user, and you can have some powerful IAM users like administrator and all. You can make those users equivalent to root user. So that is what exactly we are going to do here today. So we'll create users, and then we will create groups. We'll create roles, and how those users, groups, and roles are relevant to our workload running on AWS cloud infrastructure. So let us go to IAM service, and this is our identity and access management service offered by AWS. This is the dashboard for IAM, and these are the different options. So many of these features of IAM we would be using in this hands-on demo. So we'll start from this point. So let us create a group. We have already got one group created here. So let me create one more group, demo admin group kind of thing here. And then we will create users, we will create roles, and then we will do the things we normally require when we are managing many users in one particular AWS account. So new group. So let us say this is a demo admin group, because this is a demo admin group. So this group should have administrative privileges, right? So for that, we'll have to attach policies to that particular group. So administrator access. So let us attach these policies to this particular group. And this is the simplest way of creating a group. Now we have got an admin group here. And we know the permissions of that admin group, and it has got administrator access. You can show the policies, you can detach, and you can simulate the policy. So you can look at all those things. So here we would be now creating a user, and that user we will make part of this particular group. We can create one more group, and let us say that is our demo Deb Group. So for demo Deb Group, let us give full rights to code star. So administrator privileges to a service which is a key tool for an administrator, development administrator, and let us say that AWS Cloud9 administrator. Right. So you can in fact make those groups relevant to those kind of things. So demo Deb, or I'll edit this. So demo Cloud9 admin group. Can attach that policy, Cloud9 administrator. So Cloud9 SM instance profile, Cloud9 administrator, Cloud9 environment member, and Cloud9 user. So let me create one administrator for Cloud9. For your information, folks, Cloud9 is AWS pure cloud native IDE, and it is an amazing offering by AWS, and those who are from the development background there, you should start exploring Cloud9, guys. So you will find Cloud9 as good as your any other like professional IDE like Visual Studio, and create the group. Now we have two groups. So let us create two users, and we will add those new users to these two groups which we have just created. Right now you have these two groups here, and when you add a user, so let us create one demo admin. When you create a user, you will have to specify the access type to that particular user. So programming access or AWS console access. Folks, we are using console, so you should now start using programming access to AWS infrastructure. So let us give programming access to this demo admin, and we can give console access as well. Auto generate the password. Normally you should use this auto generate the password option. Here I'll create a custom password, and let me give a simple password here, and user must create a new password at next site. Normally you should do this thing, but here I'll uncheck it so that I save my 1 minute out there. And if you are managing users, so you should normally practice this thing. Now, guys, when we give permissions to the users we manage, there are different ways of setting the permissions to user. We can add user to a particular group. You can copy permissions from existing users, or you can attach existing policies directly to those users, right? So you folks can explore these two options. I'll be just walking you through this particular option, and that was the simple reason I have created two groups out here. So this is our demo administrator. So let me add that particular user to this demo admin group. And you can always put some tags here. This is a name value pair. So demo admin. And if why we tag every resource here, because to manage these resources at times we require to filter or search. So tagging can be utilized to for filtering and searching, right? And you can put as many as tag you want. So the 50 is the limit, right? So it depends that how many tag you require. Like you can see here, we have added one tag. So 49 more tag you can add, guys. And this is the summary. And you can look at your username, demo admin, then you have programmatic access and console access. Password is custom. Required password reset? No. Normally you should be doing it yes. Permission boundary is not set for this, right? So this user is part of demo admin group, and these are the tags we have. Quickly create the user. This is a very important step, guys. Always copy this, because when you create a user, you would be providing a sign-in kind of URL to that particular user. So this is basically the console access sign-in URL. You can save it somewhere. So I'll save it somewhere in a file here. And then you have these two things. You would be getting username and its access key and secret access key, guys. These are the important thing, and that is one of the objective of walking you through this particular demo. You need these credentials, access key, and you need secret access key to configure many things out there. So we'll be using these credentials in next step, and I have saved these things. Another way of doing things is you should download your CSV file and store that CSV file somewhere in a secure location on your machine. And then whenever you require access key and secret access key for this particular user, so you can always use those things. You can send the email to that particular user also. So you can look at this thing. So I will close the window here. And now we have users here and demo admin user is part of demo admin group, right? And we have Visual Studio user admin also. I think long back these users were created here. My admin, that normally is a good practice that for every account you create, there should be one administrator account. Right? So I would be using this my admin account, and we would be deleting the users, administrator user, and simple or non-administrator user we create during these demonstration. Right? So now how to use this particular demo admin user to get access to AWS cloud infrastructure. So that is our now next step. If you have any questions, you can raise those questions or you can directly ask me. All right. So now we will log out. You can add another user like we created the Cloud9 administrator group. So you can create some Cloud9 users. And we have already got some Cloud9 simple user policies also. So you can use those groups also, or you can create your own groups. Right? So once you create few users, so you would be basically mastering all those things. And in addition to that, most of the time when you have hundreds of users to manage, so you would not be doing things manually. However, you should know how to do things manually, right? So this is a thing basically as an administrator or as a developer or a DevOps guy, you should always have those kind of skills that if required, you can always go to the bottom layer and you can do things manually if needed, right? So now I log out from this, right? Now I have logged out from the root user, and I'll use that the user which we have just created to log in and do few more things. So creating an IAM user group and role, right? So we've created an IAM user, we've created IAM groups, right? Now accessing AWS cloud infrastructure using IAM user, right? So this is the step now we have to do. So let us click again here and sign in. Right. So this is the one way. Second and shortcut way is, guys, there was one link generated by your AWS IAM service. So I'll copy that link and I'll use that link here, and it will take you to that sign in page directly. So what is the advantage of doing that particular thing is you directly get into that particular page here. All right, so here we are. Here, guys, you should write down your 12-digit account number or alias. So alias for this account I have shown you, and that was cloud for machine learning, and the user which we have created just now, it was demo admin. The password, I guess, if I have not, yeah. So here we go, and now we are in our AWS cloud infrastructure console using an IAM user. And you can see here, this is what an IAM user, you will come to know that you've logged in as an IAM user or root user. If you logged into your console using IAM user, so this would be the string you would look at your this particular portion. Demo admin @ and then the alias of this particular account. Otherwise, you will only see the alias, or if you have not set the alias, you will see your account number here always. Right? And then you can start working. You can select your region wherever you want to work, and then you can do things out there. Right? So here, because this is an admin user and it can do as much as your root user can do. So you can create a user, then you can use that user credentials, right? So here you can see we have demo admin user, which we are using for this. You have my admin, you have Visual Studio user, and you can add many users you want, maybe a Cloud9 user or maybe your team testers, and also you can create these kind of groups and then you can add users to those groups and all. So those who are from administrator background there, they would be connecting better here. However, if you are not from operation or administrator background, you should understand, guys, these things. At time you would require these things. Maybe you are getting into DevOps kind of a career path there, so you would require these things, right? You can spare some time if you are from that particular track, and otherwise the demo part is just to make you comfortable in understanding what IAM service, AWS IAM service can do. So now we'll go here, accessing AWS cloud infrastructure using IAM user. So we've done this part. Now configuring a local terminal to access AWS cloud services and resources. Guys, this is very, very important part. Now you may be wondering that if there is no, would you let me take you to the AWS console, right? So if you do not have a cloud cell, which we have used yesterday, right, and you want to copy files, you want to do a lot of things which is not possible using your console, right? And there is one instance, very important instance, guys. If you want to populate data into your glacier, S3 glacier, right, you would be able to create we call them basically the vaults. So glacier vault you can create, but if you want to populate, if you want to send data to those vaults, so the console will not help you in that case. And there are many other instances like that. So in such scenario, you would require to access your AWS services like AWS S3 glacier vault, right? So you want to add some data to that vault. So how you would be doing it? So for that, you need to configure your local terminal or maybe a terminal somewhere in a remote server and all. So you would require some dependencies to install on that particular terminal, and then you can do your things out there. So this is what exactly I'll be showing you here. And let me take you to the Google here. If you do not have that AWS CLI, I am using Windows machine. So if you are using Mac, you will write AWS CLI for Mac, right? Installing, updating, and uninstalling the CLI, guys. So this is what you would be doing. So you can look at all these instructions: installing, updating, and uninstalling CLI. So guys, remember that there are multiple versions of CLI. So now AWS CLI version 2 is available on Windows, and this is the complete literature and prerequisite for your CLI version 2. So install and update your AWS CLI version 2. So all these things you would be doing, right? So I have already installed AWS CLI for you guys. So if you have not installed AWS CLI on your machine, so you can install it. So that would be a simple MSI, and you can simply execute that MSI and it will install the CLI on your Windows machine. So this would be the link, the latest version of the AWS CLI. So this is MSI. You will download this package and it will do the job for you, right? So I have already done this thing for you. Now I want to test my machine is having AWS CLI installed or not. So for that, I will now go to my terminal. Right, and here we are, and I'll share my screen, the terminal. This is my terminal, guys, and how do I check that whether my AWS CLI is installed or not? So this AWS -- version, so it will give you the kind of idea whether your CLI is installed or not. AWS CLI 2.0.60 Python, because this is Python based package, so it requires Python. So Python dependencies are also installed in this, right? So I am good to go here, and if you don't have this CLI install on your machine, you can always download the MSI and do the needful for you. Now, how do I check that whether my things are connected properly or not? Right? So AWS S3 LS. Right? So this is the guys we've seen in the last video. I want to list down the bucket available in my particular account. Now, which account? There is no input for that, right? So if you simply write down here AWS S3 LS, right? So which account it is connected, there is no configuration for that, right? So first you will have to configure your terminal to a one particular account, right? Using one particular IAM user credential. So meaning that you can use that particular terminal for multiple accounts. So in such cases, you will have to create multiple profile on your that particular machine. So let us look at this thing here. What it gives us, AWS, unable to locate the credentials, you can configure the credential by running the AWS configure, right? So let us configure this for our user which we just created, right? So for that, guys, what you will have to do, AWS configure, right? And then you will have to write your access key. You remember that I have saved the access key somewhere. So I'll use that access key and paste it here, and then it will ask the secret access key. I'll copy and paste it. Default region US East 1. Guys, we are working in US East 1, North Virginia. If you want to access another region, so you can always set your region, right? Otherwise, default region is US East. If you want to make a specific, you want to change the default region, you can change it. Right? So I'll not change it. I'll keep it US East only. And when you get your output from AWS, what should be the format of that particular output? So there are text, tabular, and JSON. So let us keep it simply JSON. If you want to make it tabular or text, you can write down those things. So I'll keep it JSON format and end. Right now we have configured this particular terminal for our demo user, because these credentials are demo users credential. Now we will try to list our buckets, right? So AWS S3 lists the bucket, and here we go. Right. So now I guess there are some problems here that trace. So you can now, guys, to troubleshoot this thing, good blessing in disguise, how to see our things out there. So let us go to the configuration of your AWS CLI. You will have there in this particular directory and there should be two files basically, config and credentials. So let us look at the credentials first. Edit credentials. So there is no credential file. Start notepad. Credential. Right. So this is your credential file, guys. We opened it, and let me show you that is there. So these are this is the credential file you can see. So cloud for this is what we have just added the credentials out there. So let us just use those credentials only. So let me check my credential, and that was this. Right. So this is the credentials, guys, we have, and you can delete rest of the things. Let me delete all these things. Right, and save it. Similarly, you can open your config file also. And let me take you to that. So here we are. Config. So let me first type config. Right. So we have default region is set, and for default, let us make this particular thing a default. You can copy it from here. All right. So let me take you out from this. And here we are, guys. So you need a profile, basically, we call, and let us make this particular user profile as default. So I'll write here default. So you can look at the things out there. Let me walk you through again, be sure about that. All right, so let me save it. Let us make this profile as default and save it. So this is what you can, there should not be white spaces in there, and save it. Save it, and here we go. Right, so now you can see that file. I'll just show you that what is our credential file now. Look like, so this guys are credential file, right? So this is the default profile. Start with the profile name and then the access key and secret access key, right? And save it and close it. Okay, and now I'll show you my screen out there. So here you can look at the screen there, and you can see what is there in the credential. So credential and config, these are the two files, guys. So you can always look the content, what is the content there, like type credentials. So default, and this is the key, guys, we have, right? So let me now clear it. And here we go. Now let us try AWS S3 LS. And here we go. So this is what, guys, at times you would require to troubleshoot all those things. And it's good that we got this chance to troubleshoot our thing. Now, if you want to use this terminal using other credentials, so for again, you will have to update these files and you will have to put those profiles and the access key and secret access key in those two files, guys, right? That is what, guys, I have for this. So you have seen it, and you can always look at these S3. It's verified whether it is giving you correct bucket numbers, less, right? So you can see here. Right, so these are the buckets you have here in this, and you can always, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buckets are there. And if you go here, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, so we are at the correct profile and we are able to fetch the data. Now you can list down, you can copy, which we have seen. You've done copying content from your terminal to S3 bucket and fetching it down, right? So you can always do that thing. And if you want to add some file to these, any one of these bucket, even you can create a bucket right from here, and many things, whatever you want, any other service we would be doing, you can manipulate, you can manage it from the terminal. And that is what the objective of this particular demo was, guys, right? So let me take you to my things here now. So here we are. So we have seen configuring a local terminal to access AWS cloud services and resources. You have seen it, how we have configured. First, we have installed the AWS CLI. Then we've configured your config and credentials there. And then we have used AWS CLI command. We've seen that how to list down all the buckets in one particular region we have created. Then comes, guys, this identity and federated identity management using AWS Amazon Cognito. Right, so I'll close this thing and let me click here again, and it will take you to. So this is, guys, again, this time we logged into this particular admin user. Right, and if you want, you can log out and log in again, right? So here, AWS Cognito, so that apart from IAM, we have many more identity related services here. So let us go and search for Cognito. So this is AWS Cognito. The Cognito gives us two options there. You can manage user pools, you can manage your identity pools, right? So when you would require, guys, user pool, if you are using AWS as your maybe web application or mobile app backend, right? So you would require your the identities like Facebook, Google, or Hotmail. These are the external identities. So if you want that the users who are registered in Gmail, Facebook, and all should be managed, or they should also be authorized and given access to your AWS mobile backend, for example, right? So in such scenario, you would require a federated identity management tool, and that is what your Cognito is. So Cognito offers user pool and identity pools. User pools are user directories that provide sign up and sign in option for your app users, like mobile app users. And identity pool provides AWS credentials to grant your user access to other AWS services, right? So this is what you can always create a pool here, or you can create a manage identity pool and manage user pool. So if you go and create user pool, so you can create a user pool here. These are the options, guys. You can always look at, if time permits, we would be using these options also, right? But as of now, that is what I have for you, right? You can create your identity pools, pool name, and it will walk you through all these steps, and you would be able to do all the things which you are needing for this. So I'll come back to my console here, and we have many more stuff there. So we've seen federated identity management using Cognito and using your in Cognito. You have two options: identity pool, and you have user pools. Then comes guys, AWS Organization, and now I'll be showing you a master account basically, right? So what does it, this AWS Organize, what it does, right? So let me show you that organization, right? So this is AWS Organization, guys. Now the objective of this AWS Organization is to give you better management of multiple accounts. So this is a great thing, guys. You can manage multiple account from one particular account, and when you are managing multiple account from one particular account, that account we call basically master account. So this particular account is not a master account, right? So I will now take you to one of my master account, and I'll show you what all you can do there in the master account, which is managed by AWS Organization. So AWS Organization helps you to manage multiple accounts. So this is my one master account, and here it is. Right now I'll take you to my AWS Organization. So these are the accounts this particular master account is managing. Guys, this account, like this is the pay account. Now I can join many accounts in this master account, and maybe I'd be paying all expenses from this master account, right? And I can restrict, I can set policies to all those joined accounts here. I can create new accounts, new users. I can invite new accounts to join this particular organization. And we have the simple tree structure for your AWS organization, and we call them organizational unit, right? So this is your, these are your organizational units, and within those organizational units you can have your different accounts, right? And these accounts, perhaps if you have many accounts managed by one payer account, normally in your organization you may have a big project, so that product has got one master account, and then you have small DevOps teams. There may be 4 or 5 DevOps, so you can create different accounts for them, and then you can join those accounts in that particular organizational unit, in that particular organization, as in different organizational unit, OUs basically we call. And you can have service control policies applied to those managed account from that master account. So SCP offers central control over your maximum available permissions for all account in your organization, allowing you to ensure your accounts stay within your organization's access control guidelines, right? So that is an, the central uh, control it's given, so that you have uniform policies across all the teams. You can tag the policies, and you have AI services opt out policies there, right? So AI services opt out policies enable you to control whether AWS AI services can store and use your content, and backup policies also you can manage, right? So you these things are disabled here, you can enable those things, and you can use, you can go to setting and you can do whatever you require. So you these are the things where from you will enable all these things, guys. And that's enough for this particular walkthrough, guys. And let me take you right. So now there are two things, guys, which is not here in this workflow. There is a thing called control tower. Now this control tower is at times is a again, when you have many accounts managed by one particular master account, so you would require a lot of great things to be done, right? So this control tower, it manages you to manage those multiple environment and multiple accounts, and there are some great solutions available as of now. So one of them is landing zone. So AWS Control Tower landing zone. So these are the two things. Set up a landing zone, right? So this is with the help of your control tower, you can set up a landing zone, right? So this landing zone and the control tower would be relevant when you have a master account where you have many accounts, and then you can set up the landing zone using the control tower, and all things like setting up the security guardrail and governance policies and whatnot. So many things, guys. So you will enjoy this thing. So go back and look at your configure those things, whatever we talked about, whatever uh, we have done here in this particular walkthrough. And I would be happy to answer any questions you have there. And please ask question. You can put those questions in your chat boxes there, and I will now log out from this. And guys, don't forget to clean up your accounts. Like, I have created 2 groups there, admin groups and 2 users. So normally you should delete those users and all. So, and I would be doing those deletion job after this video. And let us see what we have here now in this video. So we've talked about these things and the concept. So we've seen that AWS Control Tower. AWS Control Tower offers the easiest way to set up and govern a secure multi-account AWS account. How much does AWS Control Tower cost you? Guys, any service we talk about, whether it is S3 or AWS Organization or Cognito, right, there would be some cost associated, right? So because these are the services we've talked about, they are on demand, right? If we use, we have to pay. There are many services which are always free, but most of the services you would be paying for, right? So AWS Organization is a free service. However, the Control Tower is, again, there is no additional charges for AWS Control Tower. However, you would be paying for the services which AWS Control Tower would be using. So AWS Control Tower would be using many other services like AWS Service Catalog, AWS Cloud Trail, right? So these are the paid services, right? So when you use Control Tower, so you would be using Catalog or Cloud Trail. So the cost which incurred using Catalog and Cloud Trail would be the indirect cost which is due to your Control Tower, right? Otherwise, that AWS Control Tower is a free service. This is what you can say. Then comes AWS Landing Zone, is an AWS solution offered through AWS experts, solution architects, right? And this would be available in master accounts. And I have shown you this part, guys, there. And there is an API available for AWS Control Tower, right? So is there an API available for AWS Control Tower? And this is a question normally in certification and all comes, right? So the answer here is no. You can use AWS Control Tower through the management console to perform all necessary operation, right? So this is the other way around. Like I have said, that is there any way to populate your S3 glaciers vault? So through console, you cannot populate the data into your S3 glaciers vault. It is all through the CLI or APIs. However, in case of Control Tower, there are no API as of now. So you would be doing things through your console only, right? So in the one of the video, we talked about that everything underneath in any cloud service provider is through API, right? So these are the exceptions. Somehow underneath things should be things are happening using API, but you don't have direct access to those APIs. Right? And now we can summarize it. We have learned how to create IAM users, groups, roles using console. Guys, the roles are again like if you have a group of permissions and that group of permission you want to attached to one particular user or one particular resource. So you can create the groups of permission we call roles, and then those roles are assumed by your resources, right? And those resources may be your users or maybe your the servers or some other resources, right? So we would be using that role concepts very frequently, right? And I will move forward now when we have learned how to federate identity management in AWS. So using Amazon Cognito's user pool, and you have your identity pool, you've seen it, and how we have learned how to use AWS Organization when it comes to managing multiple accounts using Control Tower and using AWS Control Tower Landing Zone. And that is what I have for this particular module. And I hope you have learned something out here. If you have any question, please let us know. And thank you very much for your patience. We cannot end any module without a quiz. And here we have a small quiz. Is there an API available for AWS Control Tower? So this is what, guys, we just talked about, that there is no API available for AWS Control Tower as of now. So it is no. And the second question, AWS Landing Zone is a service, true or false? So AWS Landing Zone is a solution under your Control Tower. So I will mark it as false, guys, here. If you disagree with that, you can always write back you can put those things in your chat boxes there. Thank you very much. These are the links, guys, would be provided with this video. You can always watch those videos or read that literature. And I thank you all folks for sparing time for this particular video. And please watch these videos which are attached here. And good day. I look forward to see you guys in my next video.